could you introduce our fantastic, wonderful speaker for today's session?
I would love to. So today's speaker is someone who I'm sure all of our BizHub members will be familiar with. But when she's not the amazing BizHub community manager, you might not know that she spends her time getting people organised. Using her awesome organising skills, she helps busy people declutter their households, streamline their living spaces, and get their lives in order. She's someone who loves a list and is always ready to offer help and advice. And it's my pleasure to introduce the lovely and amazing Louise Eldridge.
Oh, wow. Good morning. What an intro. Goodness me, got to live up to that.
I'm sure you will.
Oh, morning, everybody. Lovely to see so many people in the room today. Really strange being on this side. Ellie, you've done a fantastic job this morning. I can rest now. You can take this on. So.
Oh, I learned from the master.
So yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about my most favourite subject in the world is productivity. So I think we should get started so that I've got enough time to get through all this amazing content that I'm going to give to you today.
Absolutely, we'll leave you to it.
See you at the end. All the best.
Bye. All right. So let me just share my screen. And there we go. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Good. So welcome to the BizHub Productivity Talk. And I'm really looking forward today to talk to you and maximize all your efficiency and helping you achieve your goals. I just wanted to talk through very briefly for people that don't know me. I've been organizing and implementing processes and systems probably for most of my life. I started out being a PA, a secretary, and honestly, I learned the most amazing tools just from doing those jobs. And I've sort of taken that on throughout my career. I've been in very contracted and self-employed in many different industries, from nursing, from health and safety, from recruitment, and I was even a magician's assistant at one point. I'll talk about that a bit later. But I can honestly say the most important thing that you have to do is have the right process and be organized, and your business will completely thrive. I've run lots of events as well. So over the years, you know, I'm the go-to person. You've got 300-400 people in a room and I'm the go-to person. So you've really got to keep your finger on the pulse. And along with that, as I said earlier, I do decluttering. I've recently come into this. I've decluttered my whole life, but I've recently sort of taken that into a business as well. And it's incredible. You declutter your life, your lounge, your kitchen, your work, your office, and it completely cleanses your mind. So it's definitely something that we should all be thinking about. But I have to say, working as the Signal community manager has really enabled me to use all of my experiences, from like processes to organizing to events, and to really look at like businesses and help them grow and get them to see the wood from the trees. And I have to say, it's really great to be part of this amazing, vibrant community. So without any further ado, let's crack on and get productive. Put your seatbelts on, get a pen in your hand, and let's see what we can do. So today we're gonna cover various things, and I'll just quickly flick through them. We're going to talk about why you're in business, how you will achieve your goals, building good habits, time management, and managing distractions. But with all of those things that we're going to touch on today, what you have to realize is that everything needs to be aligned. And once things are aligned, you will then be truly productive. So without further ado, let's start. Why are you in business? It's really important to know what you want from your business. Do you want it to be full-time? Do you want it to be part-time? Do you want to retire in 5 years? Do you want work-life balance? If you get the basis of that, what do you want from your business? Really take some time to think about that, because then it will be much easier to set your goals. So by knowing what you want from your business, setting your goals to achieve that. It seems like an obvious thing, but a lot of people don't think about it. They literally just dive straight in. They've got a business idea and they go. But always, I would say, take a step back and really decide what you want, set your goals, and then really importantly, communicate your message. And I'm not talking about doing your marketing for your business. Communicate your message to your customers and your suppliers, and that will really manage their expectations. An example here is if you've got a business that you only work 3 days a week, make sure you communicate that out to your customers, to your suppliers. That way that you can maintain what you want from your business. I think it's really, those things are, to me, are absolute key. And we all talk about the most important thing, which is work-life balance. We all try to achieve it. We all talk about it. But what I have to say is I read a book recently, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And I'm just going to take an extract of what he says about that. And he says, basically, how often do you think about work-life balance? How do I achieve it? And his answer comes back and says, ask a tightrope walker how often he thinks about work balance when he's on a high wire. And the answer is obvious, it's all of the time. And that's the same situation with balancing your work and your home life. You have to do it all of the time. You're never ever going to reach a point that you've attained it completely perfectly. It's never going to happen. You have to absolutely work at it. And I would just take that to heart and always take a moment to think about that you've just got to work at it, because you can be steamrolled into work, you can be steamrolled into things, and you just don't get that balance right. So really, really work at it. And once you've worked at it and it's working for you, your productivity will really, really increase. Personal growth as a small business owner, which means that you are constantly growing, you're constantly learning. It's what we do in business. You can't be complacent. You have to keep adapting and learning and absorbing that information. Trends move really, really quickly, and you've just got to keep up with it. So I think finding time in your day, at least 30 minutes in your day, if you can, just to take some time. And it doesn't mean that you have to do a big task. It means like listen to a podcast. We are so lucky at the moment. We have all of this at our fingertips. So listen to a podcast, watch a TED Talk. They're brilliant. You get such inspiration from these kind of things. And you can literally, when you say invest in personal growth, you don't have to take an exam and pass a test. You just have to take some nuggets, some snippets, and see whether you can actually put that into your business. Read a chapter of a business book. It's a brilliant way of just looking at a book, reading a chapter and saying, right, how do I apply that to my business? And very importantly, as I would say, the Biz Hub, because you simply cannot build a business alone. And we know that. Members of the Biz Hub do know that. Really make sure you carve out time to invest in yourself by coming to the Hub, by learning and by implementing what we teach at the Hub, because it is invaluable. And the mastermind sessions that we have as well, you learn these little nuggets from the different businesses that we've got in our community, and they're invaluable. I mean, you're not going to get that kind of thing anywhere else. So really invest in the time and plan time for your training, which takes me on to my first top tip: plan your year. Now, in January, we always go, oh, I'm just gonna get this out. I'm gonna plan it out. But how many of us really do? Put it in the chat. Let's have a look. How many of you completely plan out your year? Because you'd be amazed how many things get missed because you just simply forget. I would say at the start of the year, just put some key dates in your diary and set reminders well in advance. I mean, insurance renewals, MOTs, VAT returns, supplier contract renewals, all of those things, they just sort of come and hit us if we don't know. Go, oh goodness, my MOT's expired, or oh, I've really got to renegotiate with that supplier. I meant to do that. Oh, I'll just keep going with it, and you know, I'll do it next year. But then next year it happens again. It happens to so many of us. A really easy way of avoiding that is literally just plan your year. I'd even go so far as to put Christmas items in August, September. If you buy Christmas gifts for your suppliers or your clients, start thinking about it in September. Don't wait for the mad rush. Literally, do not wait. We all do it. It can be avoided. So that is one of my first top tips. How are you going to achieve your goals? We set these goals for ourselves. Sometimes they're overly ambitious, but it's really, really important to break things down into smaller and smaller chunks. So you've got your goal, break it down to a milestone, break it down into smaller tasks. By doing that, it is really, really going to be a lot more achievable for you. I think if you say something like, launch company website at the top of your to-do list. It's going to sit there. It's not going to get done because every day you're going to think, oh, I haven't got time to do that today. I'll do that tomorrow. Or I haven't got time, because it's a big task. So break it down. It'll stop the procrastination. Break it down into smaller tasks. Think about it, plan it, and just break it down into the smaller chunks. And I tell you, you will be a lot more productive by doing that. We've all got the 5-year plan. Oh, in 5 years, break that down. 1 year, work towards goals, work towards things. Your productivity will completely increase if you're not completely overwhelmed by a big 5-year plan. Oh, I'm nowhere near it yet. Well, break it down and make it work for you. And another thing, and this might seem irrelevant, but I thought I'd put this in here. Say no. You've got to stop saying yes to everything. Remember, every time you say yes to something, you're actually saying no to something else. And by saying yes to somebody else or something else, it messes and upsets your plans. So learning to say no in a really polite way, and there's good ways of doing it, but it just makes you focus on your goals. And the more you can do that, the more you will achieve your goals, and you will have the satisfaction. And remember why you're in business and what you want from your business. So a top tip that you can use for your goals is the SMART technique. And I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but using aspects of the SMART technique can really make your goals more attainable. Let's revisit launch your company website. You've got to be specific. What kind of website do you want? Do you need to take payment on it? Measurable. Does the website work? Can payments be processed on it? Is it achievable? You've got a budget. Can you achieve it in your budget? Realistic. Do you have the skills, or do you need to delegate? And timely. Can it be done in the time that you need it to be available? I think breaking down goals, tasks, milestones, using a technique like this or something similar, really being calculated about how you want to achieve your goals, really delays it makes the goal become that much more achievable and stops the procrastination. So talking about decisions, because you've all got to make decisions, there's a decision making process, and it says, do you know how many decisions we make every single day? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's 35,000 decisions every day. That comes from a study that they did at Cornell University. I mean, I'll just do some basics. What are you going to have for breakfast? What shirt are you going to wear? Which door are you going to go through? How are you going to build your company website? Etc., etc., etc. We just all suffer from decision fatigue. It's exhausting. Sometimes you just feel like you're constantly making these decisions. And one way to increase your productivity is to simplify your decision-making process by building good habits. And a simple way of doing that is just to save on your brain power. Some of the most successful people have already figured this out. And they've done it by simply wearing the same thing each and every day. Steve Jobs, I've got a picture there. He's wearing the same things throughout the years. That's what he did. He did the jeans, he did the black top, he did the trainers. And he basically said, I don't need to make that decision every day. I literally just get up and get dressed. Now, to be honest, I haven't mastered that yet. I still deliberate most mornings, most afternoons, and most evenings if I'm going out somewhere. What am I going to wear? There's a lot of trying on. And I'm sure all of us do that. But possibly maybe just streamline it down a little bit, especially for work. It's that you don't want to wake up thinking of all these things. Dr. Dre does it. He wears the same shoes. Barack Obama only wears a grey or a blue suit. Mark Zuckerberg, he wears this iconic grey t-shirt. It does save brain power and it saves time. And if we can do one thing a day that saves time, try it. I don't know, why don't we try it? But let's coordinate so we don't all look the same. So one thing you can't change your decision on is your tax returns. And I wanted to put this slide in here because I do go on about tax returns. I just literally, just don't ignore them. Don't leave it to the last minute. The self-assessment is due at the end of January. But why do it at the end of January when you can do it from the 6th of April. What is stopping you from doing that? Okay, might have to gather a few papers, you'll get it in May, but if you put reminders in your schedule to do certain things throughout the year, you will be able to achieve that. And by creating good habits and keeping on top of your finances every month, honestly, once you get the momentum going, you'll find it takes hardly any time at all. And it also relieves so much stress in January. I've been around business many, many years, and most people in January are tearing their hair out, going, oh, I've got to get this and I haven't got that. And it literally is so much stress. And there's also another point. If you only do it at the end of January and you only get your self-assessment in at the end of January, you might not even have enough money to pay the tax bill straight up. If you do it in April, you've got the whole rest of the year till the end of January to kind of start budgeting for that. So I think it's really important, and this is just one thing that I would say with regard to tax returns, just get on and do it. Why don't you all make a pledge for next year and say, by the end of May next year, my tax return will be done. I'd like some feedback on that, because that would really please me, to be fair. And talking about your tax return, if we talk about outsourcing, I think you've really got to know your strengths and your available time. We've just talked about tax returns. I mean, maybe you need some help with filing yours. Maybe it's not your strength. Maybe figures are not your thing. Really think about it and just know whether that is something that you could possibly delegate out to somebody and free up some time to concentrate on fulfilling your goals. And when you delegate out to somebody, it could, what might take you a day could be done by an expert in a complete fraction of a time. And I think that goes throughout your whole business. Okay, you might not be able to afford to outsource things, but really drill down, and we're going to talk about that in the workshop later on, really drill down on the things that you know that you need some help with. I mean, for example, we've just launched the Hubbub at Signal, which is the marketing package. So we all know that you've got to do marketing. To do marketing, you get more customers, your business grows. It makes sense. But so many people don't prioritize it. They don't prioritize it because they don't have the time, the expertise, the knowledge. And it's one of those things that we just don't get around to doing. So I think break down what you need, talk to the team about the Hubbub if that's what you need, talk to an accountant if you need help with your tax return. Start thinking about that, because by doing that, your business will completely grow. Couple of top tips now. I'm just going to throw them in there, and I'm just going to say, in quieter times in business, I think it's a really good idea to be proactive rather than reactive. So we get a new customer, excitement hits, new customer, we start emailing, we exchange, that happens. You're 3 months down the line and you're still exchanging that, no contract has been sent yet. Then it's like the client may say, can I have a contract? And then it's the stress of trying to find a contract, trying to customize it. Create contracts that are templates. It looks so professional when you engage with somebody and you engage in business and you shoot over the contract immediately. There's the contract, now we know where we stand. I just think it looks professional, and B, it saves so much time, and time is money and stops productivity. So I would certainly say that. The same with emails. How often do we send the same email over and over again? And every time you write it, you think, oh, I should have put that in, or last time I put that in. Create a template so that when you need to communicate with somebody on a specific subject, just send over the template email. Obviously tweak it according to need, but you've got your basic information there. It really makes you a lot more in control and saving you time, and a lot more productivity will come from that. With regard to file structures and names of your files, so we all use filing systems on our computer, but you'll often get a client ring up and say, oh, could you just send me that document? Oh no, the third version. Yeah, the one we did the other day. Great. And then you go into that stress of like, oh, which one was it? What did I name it? Where is it? Is it on my desktop? Where did I send it? We all go through stages of that. But when you become really organized and have your file structure and your file names really easy, simple, and you can access it at a drop of a hat, it just takes out that stress and that time. And that is that's what stops productivity, is all that time wasting. And finally, technology. Gareth will be laughing in the background. Technology is not my forte. However, I will say, over the lockdown period, I've really embraced the technology a lot more. And by technology, I've really sort of learned more what different programs can do, what things make my life a bit more efficient, and not be so scared of technology. So embrace your technology, because it will definitely increase your productivity. Right, the big one next is stop procrastinating. I mean, procrastination is often because of the fear that you're going to fail at the task that you need to complete. And I think you really need to break down and understand why you are procrastinating on a task before you can begin to tackle it. Is the task too big? We've talked about that before. Break it down into manageable chunks. By doing that, you will start to chip away at the task, and it will really help you. I mean, sometimes you don't have the skills. This is what's stopping you. Ask for help. Delegate. I mean, the beauty of being part of the hub is there are so many people on hand. Reach out, ask people for help. The more you do that, the more the community builds, and the more you learn to sort of get over this procrastination, because you just needed a bit of assistance. You needed a point in the right direction. Even if you're really organized, you can still feel overwhelmed. And surprisingly, perfectionists are often the biggest procrastinators, because they would rather avoid doing a task that they don't feel they have the skills to do it perfectly. So it is a bit like that. It's a bit like, well, I could do it, but it won't be great, so I'll just put it off. And that's what we do as procrastinators. So really take heed and just break the tasks down, ask people if you need help, and procrastination will be eliminated. Well, not eliminated, minimized. We all still do it. I wanted to talk a bit about the workspace. I think you need to find a dedicated workspace. It could be a room in your house as a home office. You can rent an office or a hot desk at Signal. We obviously offer that. But I think it's really important because A, you'll have less distractions. But it also gives your brain to associate with the space where you work, and allowing you to get your head down and really get work done. I just think if you're haphazardly working in kitchen tables and moving things around, etc., you might not be fortunate enough to have a workspace. But what I would say, if you do have to work on a kitchen table, I would recommend you buy a big tray, and at the end of each day, you pack everything into the tray and just move it to the side. And in the morning, you bring it out again, rather than haphazardly moving things around. It really concentrates your mind as well. I also think working from different locations, I mean, obviously depending on the task that you're doing, but working from a different location, i.e. a coffee shop, a library, I know in these times it's slightly more challenging, but it really refocuses you if you go somewhere to do a task. You can always go to Signal and hire a hot desk for a day. And in that way, you're like, right, I'm here, I've designated the space, I'm doing this task. And it really puts you in a different mindset. It also lets you interact with other people, because sitting inside the same four walls week in can really induce a cabin fever effect. And I think my biggest one of this is clear your desk at the end of each day. It takes 5 minutes, please do it, because it just helps the next morning when you come in and your desk is clear and you're ready to go. It stops all that clutter going on. Clutter of the mind does not lead to good productivity. Let's manage our time. We all have 1,440 minutes in a single day. And I'm afraid when it's gone, it's gone. It's one of the things that we cannot get back. You cannot get time back, so don't waste it. I think a good tip here is at the end of each day, list out your priorities for the next day. This will help you clear mind and also enable you to have downtime in the evening, because you've jotted it down, you've written it down, you're good to go. And also beginning the next day with clear goals will help you power through those priorities. So I just think in that sense, it's a really good idea just to do that every day. Just make a priority list so that you know what you're going to be doing. I would also say batching your time into similar tasks. i.e. if you're blog writing, if you're, if you're writing a blog, if you're writing a column, if you're updating a newsletter, do those kind of tasks at the same, in the same time period, because switching between a variety of different activities really plays havoc on your mind. It's really hard to switch from doing the accounts to being creative. It's a really good way of just creating associated time for associated tasks. Daily routine. We all love this one. I'd love a daily routine. And according to Parkinson's law, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. So how often have we said, I need 2 hours to finish that, and you do it in 2 hours? Or I've only got 45 minutes, I best get it done, and you get it done. So make sure when you're developing these tasks, you allocate time and you stick to it. You stick to it as well as you can. I know it's difficult sometimes and things pop in. We're going to talk about distractions in a minute, but things pop in. But I think it's really important to set these times and to make sure that you are fulfilling what you need and your goals for that particular day. I mean, one of the main perks of working from home is you don't have to do the commute, which is great. However, this can lead to you not actually leaving the house, especially in the winter months when it's raining. We're lucky today, it's not a bad day. But in the winter months, if you don't have to go out, then do you go out? So I would say treat your mornings as if you've got a job to go to. So get up and treat as if you're going to work. Now, I know people will say, oh, I work from home, so I don't have to do the commute. I'm talking about maybe incorporating a short walk at the beginning of the day. Just a quick walk, 5-10 minutes, get yourself ready, go for a walk, and then when you come home, you're ready to work when you unlock your front door. It can change your mindset, and it can make you feel like I've arrived at work, as opposed to sort of drifting into work in a sort of slow process. The next thing I want to talk about is time management. The Pomodoro technique, that's my best Italian, is a time management system by Francesco Cirillo late in the 1980s. I only did it. And the technique uses a timer to break down into intervals. Now, I know some people in the hub already use this. I think it's a really fantastic technique to use. Each interval is known as a pomodoro, which is the Italian word for tomato, hence the picture of the tomato on the screen. That was the timer that he apparently used when he was at university. So it's a really basic technique. You decide on the task to be done, and you set the Pomodoro timer or your stopwatch or on your phone or whatever, and you work for 25 minutes. When you've finished, you stop the task and you take a 5-minute break. And then you put a tick on the page. Once you've got 4 ticks on the page, you then can have a longer break. It really resounded with me, this, because often you'll sit at your desk, and I know I certainly am a culprit of this, and you sit and you work and you work and you work, and then you stand up and you say, oh, my body, I've just been sitting at this desk all day, I haven't had a break. It's really important to have those little breaks, walk around, make sure that you're incorporating breaks into your working day. I think it's key to productivity. Another top tip, create more time. Oh, we all want more time. Every day, it's like, oh, where did that day go? I just need a few more hours. Well, I'm going to give you a bit of a tip here. If you wake up 1 hour earlier each day, you will gain 15 days per year. That's 1 hour every day, you'll gain 15 days over the course of the year. Difficult getting up an hour earlier, I appreciate that. Put the alarm on the other side of the room, so you have to get up to switch it off. After you've done it a few times, you will get into the habit of doing it. But what I will say is make sure your first hour counts. Invest in yourself. Make sure that you're doing something really productive. Now, productive means a different thing to everybody. If productive to you is, I'm going to do yoga, I'm going to do breathing, I'm going to do meditation, I'm going to set myself up for the day, it could mean I'm going to get up and I'm going to write a piece of content for my website in the quiet time. It could mean I'm going to read a chapter of my book and really enjoy that first hour of the day. It'd be interesting to know what you would do that time. Put it in the chat so that we can have a look. I hope I'm not racing through too fast, but I've got a lot of content to get through. So I hope you're all still with me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you are. But I just think, talking of time, another key thing that I would say is be punctual. Being on time allows for more time to be productive. That goes without saying, it's really obvious. But interestingly, when you make yourself be punctual, you begin training your brain on a much smaller level to deliver your commitments. So you can make a direct correlation actually between people who are on time and those who successfully complete their projects. So planning and sticking to a schedule will be able to let you fulfill your commitments. Some of these things are really obvious, I know, but it's really good to think about them and put them into the context of your productivity. Managing your day-to-day tasks. Well, I've got 5 things here that I'm going to talk to you about. I'm going to talk to you about the to-do list because it wouldn't be a talk from me without talking about a to-do list. I'm going to talk about some tools, some distractions, some productive time, and working to your own agenda. So let's start with the to-do list. I think there's a statement that I want to make right at the outset of this. Our minds are best used for processing different ideas and not to hold on to information. And I say this with the idea that people tell you things and then late at night you think, oh, what did they say? What was I supposed to do? What time was that? Those are the kind of things that you should just write down into your diary, onto your to-do list, and just make sure that that has gone out of your brain. We all spend so much time trying to think, trying to understand, trying to remember, like, what was that? What was that great TED talk? Oh, I wish I'd written it down. We all do that. So bear that in mind. I would also say, don't add items to your to-do list if you can do the task in less than 5 minutes. By the time you've thought about it, written it onto your to-do list, done a priority, put it somewhere else, just do it. If it's a quick 5-minute task, just get on, just do it. And I would also say, if you regularly create to-do lists that are only half completed at the end of the day, you're being overly ambitious. Be realistic about your timings. Make sure that you do what you do on your to-do list. Set your time accordingly. There's nothing worse than looking at the end of the list at the end of the day and thinking, oh, didn't achieve anything today. So for that feeling of achievement, make sure you're realistic with your to-do list. On my to-do list, I grade my items, and this is just the system that I use that I was just going to share with you. I grade my items A to C, A being the highest priority, C being the lowest, and next to the A's and C's, I put 1, 2, 3, etc. And then I schedule the items into my diary to complete the tasks. The A1 is where I start, and this is always the most important and the most difficult thing. And then I work my way down the list, ticking off as I go. I'll tell you I did say earlier that I was a magician's assistant, and I did work for a magician, and he was a lovely man. He was obsessed by lists, and he taught me this system. However, he was so obsessed by lists, it seemed that all we did was prioritize lists. I only used to go there a couple of times a week to do his admin, and every week we'd go and just update the list. So don't get caught in that trap. Although this is a good system, make sure you do the things and cross them off. Don't get caught into the trap of I'm stuck in my to-do list. In addition to that list, I run a list for thoughts and for ideas. I generally, at the moment, use my notes on my phone, and I have different categories. They can be TED Talks to watch, books to read, restaurants to visit, webinars, and some creative ideas as well. And you'll often see, you know, I've done it at the Hub a lot of times when people say, oh, this is a great book. I go, oh, great, I'll put that in. And it goes under books, under my notes. And that way I've captured the information. I don't have to think about it again. But when I'm looking for a new book, I go to that list, I have a look, I select one, and I read it. That way it's not constantly churning through your mind. It really frees up your mind a lot. And on a final note on this, always carry a notebook. It can obviously be a phone or a tablet or whatever you use these days, but I use a traditional notebook because I'm always jotting things down, writing things down, thinking of things, you know, taking the information that you receive and using it. It's a brilliant way of you know, doing your to-do list. I'll leave you with one final thought, and I did find this quite uncanny, to be honest, but I did find it on the World Wide Web, so it must be true. But it says 41% of items on a to-do list never get done. And when I first read it, I thought, oh, that can't be right. And then I thought through over the years that I've been working through a many amount of different industries, etc. And you know, you often get to the C7, which is very low priority, very low. And you think, am I actually ever going to do that? Cross it off. You're not going to do it. It's not important. So really keep analysing your to-do list as you go along, and hopefully you'll get some success from them. Just a top tip here, I'm just going to talk about different platforms that you can use. And I'm not going to go into these in detail, but you know, you've got Outlook, Planner, Trello, Asana, Slack, Wunderlist, all these things. Find one that suits you and use it if need be. I personally am using Planner at the moment and it's working really well, but I do switch out between things as things progress. So have a look and see what works for you. Distractions, goodness me, it's the bane of our life, isn't it? Distractions. How long do you think it takes to get back into a task if you're interrupted? I can tell you from a study that they did in the University of California, it's 25 minutes to get back into a task if you're interrupted. That's 25 minutes that you'll be dilly-dallying. So if you take that as 4 times a day, if you get interrupted 4 times a day, and I can assure you, you get more than 4 distractions, but we'll work on 4. If you get 4 times a day, that's 1 hour and 40 minutes per day wasted, gone, time you're never going to get back. Over a week, that's 8 hours and 20 minutes. It's unbelievable when you see it written down. I was shocked by it when I did the sums. So I think it's really important that we eliminate distractions. Let's just quickly have a quick run through about how to eliminate them. Emails. Emails are the worst thing for distractions. Be intentional. And I know Stuart has talked about this a lot before. We've talked about it in the Jumpstart January. Be intentional about when you check your emails. And it doesn't matter what the time scale is, it's got to work for you. So if it's 3 times a day, be intentional. Do it 3 times a day. If it's every 30 minutes, depending on your business, you might have a lot of toing and froing that you really need to keep on top of it, but only do it every 30 minutes. Don't keep checking. It's one way to be completely distracted and drawn into something else. Close your door. Close your door of your office. If you can, close the door. It's a good way to let people know that they're not coming in. If there's one thing you take from this today, it's turn off your notifications. They are so distracting. Turn them off. Don't be distracted by other people's agendas. If you're going to be brutal, you can always turn off your internet connection if you don't need it for the job that you're working on. On a focused task, you may be able to download them to your laptop and work without the internet. It's amazing. I'm old enough to know that when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. Oh, we did. It was dial-up. It was challenging. And you had a lot more quiet time to focus. So take that back. You're in control of this. Take it back if you need to. And the last thing I want to say is an out of office. Whenever you send an email and you get an out of office coming back, you just accept it, right? You just say, oh, they're not there. They'll be back tomorrow. Done. Use it. Use it if you need to. Put an out of office on. Get some work done so that you're not distracted. I really want you all to try and do that. And I'd love some feedback as to trying some of these things and seeing whether your distractions reduce and gain back those 8 hours, 20 minutes every day and do something great with them. Productive time. I think it's important that we all establish your own productive time. When are you most productive? We're all different. Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? Are you somebody that is really great in the morning and really bad at night? It doesn't matter, whichever way it does, but work according to who you are. Be honest with who you are. It doesn't matter, we're all different, but plan your tasks accordingly. Make sure that when you are planning tasks, do the tasks that you need to do in your most productive time. I just want you all to think back about when you go on holiday. I know it's a distant thought at the moment, but before you go on holiday, and we do talk about this in our Jumpstart January, but I think it's a really interesting analogy, is that before you go on holiday, we literally get everything done. There's no messing. It's bish bosh, gone. You get things done. Your inbox is clear. Your appointments are scheduled. You've answered email. You've done everything. Try and put that in your everyday working life, and you would be amazed how productive you are. So try and implement that if you can. And then work to your own agenda. Don't let someone or something else set your day. It's your day, it's your time, it's your goals. Make sure that people know when you're working. Communicate that out and let people know. Remember, you've already established that right at the beginning when you've set out your expectations of what you want from your business. I mean, I think it's really important to completely work to your own agenda. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, and I would always say this, if there's a customer emergency or an urgent inquiry, that will take priority. But on the basis of, 5 days a week that you're working, try and work to your own agenda, because your productivity will really, really go up. A quick top tip here as well that I wanted to share with you is when an email comes into your schedule. I mean, a lot of people may do this already, but I just wanted to share it. An email will come in and you need to work on it. So what I do is I drag the email into a calendar appointment and allocate some time. But whilst I'm there and I've read the email, I'm thinking about it, I make a couple of notes if I need to, and I quickly go and retrieve other items that I might need, other documents, and drag them into the calendar event as well. So as when I come to the event and I'm going to work on this project, I've got everything I need. There's nothing worse than sitting down and saying, right, I'm going to start on this now. Oh God, where's the contract document? Oh, where's the latest correspondence? Oh, how much are we charging them? What's their latest invoice? All that kind of information. You will spend a lot of time dilly-dallying trying to get it. Collate it all once you've read the email, and honestly, you will see a lot better results. And I just now want to talk about your why. Always go back to your why. Your why is your underlying motivation for doing anything at all. It's the reason what you do day in and day out. And hopefully you've aligned your passions with your why, and you're finding joy in sharing your skills and experiencing it with others. But even, it doesn't matter, even if your why is, I do this because it pays the bills, that's absolutely fine. But be clear what drives you forward and help you maintain your motivation and your productivity. I have to say, if your why is not something that's aligned to your goals, you should really consider whether or not you should actually be doing this. But at the beginning of this presentation, I asked you these questions. What do you want from your business? Set your goals and communicate your message. And I think what you should remember is every day you're working in your business, try and remember these things. Try and keep yourself concentrated on your why and why you're doing these things, because it will certainly increase your productivity. And I just wanted to say thank you for your time today. I know it was quite a lot of information. Hopefully we can see you in the next session and do some Q&A. And we're going to have a workbook to work through as well. And to be honest, you might not use all the things I talked about today, but hopefully you'll take some of the ideas and implement them. Please do, and please let me know. Let me know how it's going. And to be honest, if you just do one thing today, for me, that will be a great win. And before I close, I've just got a final quote that I wanted to share with you. And it's from Stephen Covey. And the quote is, "The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities." And that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lou. That is fantastic. I've made so many notes. I'm going to have to put my notes into my to-do list now and get myself. I feel privileged though, because I do work with you, and you do make sure that we run a tight ship. So I feel like I've constantly got you mentoring and cajoling and sometimes bullying, but in the nicest possible way.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, but sometimes when you're stubbornly doing something wrong and you can't see it, you need somebody to say,
exactly. Yeah. And there are so many little tips and hints. I mean, I could have gone on for ages, but it's quite good to, even if we just do a couple of those, the productivity levels will go right up, I can assure you.
And it's one of those things, like next week when we find out about great habits, it's about the repetitive use of these things. And you have to be, you said a word and it really resonated, and we'll go into it in the second session, intentional. When you are starting that habit or you're starting to use something, you're not going to be great at it. And you have to be intentional and go, right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to try this. So yeah, some great stuff there. Ellie, what did you think?
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, there's so much, I think, particularly as a freelancer, trying to create your own productivity and, you know, make sure that you're being productive is so important.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of how many times that I get distracted. And I think you made such a good point about procrastinating as well, because I think I do it a lot, and I think without realizing it, it's probably because I find the task overwhelming.
Yeah.
And then I end up putting it off. So it is just about chunking it up into those small kind of manageable tasks and doing it like that. So I think that's so helpful. It's great.
It definitely is, and it's the accountability, isn't it? When you're working on your own, there's nobody that is over your shoulder watching what you do, which is why the many masterminds and the Biz Hub is brilliant, because you know the hub members here that attend the masterminds will know that there is some accountability, and just by having that accountability makes you more productive, because you've got to get on and do it. So yeah,
talking about getting on and doing it, we're going to get on and do the break right now and move towards the meeting. The link to the meeting is in the chat. The link to the workbook is in the chat. Please do get it now. Otherwise you'll have to email Gareth and he'll have to email you in the break. We'll be back at 10:45. So go away, get yourself a coffee, top up, recharge your brain cells, and we'll be back with Lou and Ellie and Gareth and the rest of everybody, hopefully, to go through that workbook and add to our knowledge and start to implement it and be intentional about our desire to get stuff done. We'll see you all very soon.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much for attending. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Gareth. And we'll see you in the second session. Bye-bye. Right, Lou, for our second session, you have put together a workbook, and do you want to take us through it and the shape of what's going on, and explain how you're going to run the session?
I will indeed. Has everybody got a copy of the workbook? Has everybody? Yeah, you've all got one. Brilliant. Okay.
Okay.
Do you not have one, Michael?
No, I didn't. I missed the link.
Hang on a minute.
Oh, hang on. We'll send it across to you. Let's make sure everybody's got one. And Shumi, I don't know whether you can hear us, but we can't see you. No. Okay.
There we go.
Right. You should have that now, Michael. Right. Well, okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming back to the second session. I've created the workbook, and what I think is the first thing I'd like everybody to do is to, has anybody got any questions, first of all, about anything that we talked about this morning, that I gushed with this morning? Oh,
I just want to say I'm with you all the way, everything you said, Louise.
Oh, brilliant.
Everything. I mean, obviously there's elements that are not appropriate to
exactly. I think,
but the principle of what you said is absolutely what I have to do. Brilliant. And I'm very easily distracted, and I'm very good at procrastination.
I know, it is the same with all of us, to be honest, but yeah, if you use some of the techniques, maybe just one or two, you'll see your productivity going up. Yeah. Right, so the first sheet that we've got in the workbook today is the 3 questions that I asked within the talk. And I think it's always really important to write these things down. So what do you want from your business? You may in your head think, oh yeah, no, I want it, but writing it down makes it real. Morning, Graham. I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, hello, Graham.
I think it's, oh, and Terry's there. Sorry, I didn't see you, Terry. So yeah, so if we write down what you want from your business, set your goals, and then communicate your message. And when I say by communicating your message, how are you going to communicate that out to your clients, to your customers, etc.? I did give an example in the talk as to, are you going to work 3 days a week? How are you going to communicate that out? Are you going to put it in your emails, in the bottom of your email, these are the days? What are you going to do? But make sure that you communicate that out, because it will set the expectations of both your customers and your clients, which is really key. So are we going to go into breakout rooms to do this so people can chat about it? I think that's probably the best way to do it. We can go into a breakout room. I'm concerned that Sarah's still not available, but should we go into a breakout room, or should we just do it as there's small enough people here we could do it all as one?
Oh. Hello,
hi,
Fiona.
Hello.
Hello, Fiona.
Hello.
Do it as one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's enough. Yeah, we can just do it as one. So if you all take a little bit of time now and just on your workbook, just write down what do you want from your business, set some goals and communicate your message. Right, is everybody about ready?
Yeah.
I am definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. So I thought what we could do here, if people are happy to share, it might be quite interesting just to go around the room and see if you are happy to share, just outline some of your goals and just see how we're going to do that. So any volunteers to start the process? You, go Stu.
Yeah. So what do I want from my business? Well, a lot of what I do is with Signal. So that kind of is its self-contained container. So I kind of put that to one side. But there's a couple of small, I'm going to call them side hustles, for want of a better description. My merch website has started to get some traction and I'm starting to get more sales. So I need to put more or different new designs on that. So I'm working on that and I really need to get my finger out. I really need to just get on and do, and I'm hesitant because it's like, oh, is it good enough? Stuart, just do it. So I need to add some new products, and that means I need to set up an account with a print on demand supplier so that I can get them to ship the products and all the rest of it. And I need to just get and do that. So that's my goal. That's my goal for September.
What do you want from that business though, Stu? What do you want that business to do for you? Just to tick along in the background and make money? I mean, what do you want from that business?
So a passive income, as passive as you can get. You know, I'm still going to have to manage it, but ever since I started in business, I've had one form or another of passive income. And there isn't a feeling like it of looking in your bank account or your PayPal or Stripe and going, I made 50 quid whilst I was asleep last night.
Yeah.
I still to this day, it puts a grin on my face and starts my day just right. So if I could get more of that, and even if it was just like 50 quid every week, that's £200 a month.
Yeah.
Additional income, like almost for free and gratis, because it's on top of the POD shipping it out or rest of it. So it's like pure profit. So,
I know that feeling though. I think it's, remember when eBay first came out? I don't know whether anybody else had that. It was when eBay first started and you put something on and you'd wake up in the morning, you'd make 20 quid and you were like, how's that even possible? So I know that feeling. So yeah, to have a business like that, turning away in the background, really, really good.
Yes, so my goal is to add an additional £50 of passive income in September, and grow that through to the end of the year to £50 a week.
Brilliant. Okay. And what about just the last point? What about communicating your message on that with regard to it? It's not, I suppose if it's just a back burning passive income business, there's not much of a message, I suppose.
Well, I've got, it sounds weird, but I've got some loyal fans that buy the product. It's just a poster at the moment. And they share it with people. And I've always said to them when I've gone back to them, do you mind me if I stay in touch with you and tell you about new stuff that I'm doing? And they've all universally said yes. And I've said, you're not going on a newsletter list. It will be a handwritten email. So I've got all those emails. There's about 200 people. So I'm just going to go back and write to those people and say, hey, have a look at my new merch. And the reason I'm sort of procrastinating is I wanted more than one new product. I wanted like 3 or 4 products so that I'd get more bites at the 200 people who'd see perhaps something they like, rather than they see one thing and go, ah.
Okay.
So I've got to make my designs print worthy, and that's where the tension is. So I know what I need to do, and I just need to get on and do it.
Stop procrastinating, Stu. Brilliant. Thanks for that, Stu. Anybody else? Who's next? Anybody else? Terry, what about you?
I was waiting for you to pick on me.
Oh, I'm not picking on you, Terry, just selecting you.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, I love the idea of helping people and getting them to show what they're all about, especially with a 360, you know, almost be there in virtual reality style. But I'm also putting a little, once I've got it up and running, putting an idea together about doing little trips for people with the photography side of things. But for this year, I want to have everything up and running, all the admin done, and regular work starting to come in, and have, in fact, by the end of this month, have 4 niches that I'm targeting to push that all through.
Brilliant. Okay. And so those are your goals. Those are effectively your goals. What you know, by the end of this month, you want to have 4 niche market, people that you. Okay, that's good. And how are you communicating your message then? What are you putting out there?
Well, that's what I'm working on at the moment. Because
sorry, what was the win that you had? Because I heard you had a win during the first hub session. There was a
yes,
win.
yeah. Well, I've actually qualified, as I said before, with Google Street View as a registered photographer or accepted photographer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for that to come through because they're in the middle of a big change round.
Okay.
But I've also had I found out this morning, I think it was, over nearly 10,000 hits on the photos I've already put up.
Brilliant.
With outside photos.
Wow, that's really good.
Really
good.
Increasing all the time, and I've got to keep on that. So I should be more.
It's that communicating out.
Right.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Really
and
good.
the long term, in 5 years, I would love to be financially free and time rich.
Wow. Okay.
Good.
That's a really good goal to have.
Age is against me.
Yeah, well, remember to break that down into the smaller chunks because then it will become achievable. So
I was just about to say.
It's good to have that 5-year plan, but break it down as small as you can make it and achieve those tasks. But it's really important to have those kind of tasks for your business, for your goals for your business.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm working with Adrian as well, and these are the sort of areas that we're also working on. So
brilliant.
I'm putting a lot of effort in at the moment.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. That's really good.
Well done.
Right, so who's next? Any volunteers? Anybody else want to share? You don't have to share if you don't want to, but anybody else? Have I got a volunteer? Ellie.
Oh, wait, do you want to go to John?
Do Ellie first.
Are you sure?
Ellie.
Well,
we are quite short of time, so we need to up the pace, but I'm really pleased to hear from you.
I'll go through quickly. So my goals are to get some more great clients and really start to properly enjoy the work that I'm doing. So I'd love to start writing some more blog pieces for online publications like Stylist. I've got a couple on there at the moment, but that was when I was working with them. So it's all about kind of pushing out to editors and publications, and then communication is through, I've got a work Instagram, which is going pretty well. So just growing my following there. Yeah. And then, just pitching to other clients, pitching to publications, things like that.
That's really good. Brilliant. And so from what you want from your business, you want it to be a full-time consultancy that you go out and consult and freelance.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to get my name out there, get as many bylines as I can.
Brilliant. That's really good. It's so good to have clear goals. Yeah, brilliant. Definitely. John, Fiona.
Right. What I put down for what do you want from your business, I put down as a means to bring our ideas to the rest of the world and make a living from it, which is going right back to when I was about 7 years old or 8 years old, and wanted to be a successful version of Professor Brainstorm.
Oh, wow.
But,
I put a chance to be creative and improve my skills.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's really good.
But I did put a warning here, which was it's a dangerous concept thinking like that, because you can end up developing a solution looking for a problem.
Yeah, there is a warning on that. There definitely is. So as you've just got to keep your goals set in your mind to make sure you don't get confused in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the goals.
Well, I got down to fully develop the income generating side of our business, i.e. the process expertise side, and to explore other avenues starting with market potential rather than ending with it.
And then for the communicating message, we've got LinkedIn, we've also got our website, the ELGI,
which is the European Lubricating Grease Institute.
YouTube.
Oof, that just rolled off the tongue there, John. That just rolled off.
And maybe your clients as well.
Well, that's CRM.
That's CRM.
CRM, yeah.
That's just a tool.
Brilliant. Well, it's really good, again, to have really clear goals. So thank you for sharing those with us. Is it helpful, is everybody finding it helpful to write them down? I always find writing things down and making them clear really, focuses you. That's the tool that I use. Brilliant. Anybody else want to share? Graham.
Yeah. I haven't got too much to share. The thing I've been working on has been parked for pretty much exactly 1 year now.
Okay.
But I'm revisiting the goals and plans I had around the licensing service for data.
Okay.
And I said certainly a lot of what you presented earlier today was very useful, and just needing to re-energize some of those things.
Yeah.
But basically, I'd broken my things down into participating in events, raising funds, working on marketing aspects, and developing a prototype service. So that those are the strands which are key to me.
Oh, it's good though. It's good to break them down though. Otherwise, it does, as I said before, it does become really overwhelming. So it's really good to break them down and chisel away at them, and break them down further and further if you need be. So you may have a task that you think I can do that, but there may be aspects of the task that you need help with, or that will stop you from doing the whole task if you don't break it down. So,
Sure.
it's really key to do that.
Yep. No, thanks for that.
Brilliant. Thank you, Graham. Anybody else? Michael, Sue, you don't have to, but if you want to, now's your chance. Michael.
So now I've got the office, sort of already settled one of those goals, which is basically work away from home between 9 and 5, basically do a day's work somewhere, not the living room.
Good.
And then really the next one is to start thinking about getting somebody in, either an employee or a PA, to start doing some of the other tasks that I least like, but more importantly have to be done.
Yeah.
Do the more technical work that I would like to do.
Yeah.
That's really the next big goal for me, and probably hopefully in the next 3 to 6 months get that done.
Brilliant. It's really good.
Yeah.
The outsourcing and delegating is what I talked about as well. And it's also part of the BizHub community. I think we have 3 VAs in our community. So it may be worth having a conversation with somebody in our community already. So brilliant. That's really good. Shumi, did you have your hand up? Oh, read the chat. Okay. Sorry, I was going to pull it up off my screen. Okay, so Shumi said to has everybody got Shumi's on there, or shall I read it out? It's on the chat. She wants from her business income to support life-work balance and give me more time to present where it matters. Want to generate a minimum of 33 combined streams, passive income streams, Red Bubble, TeePublic, merch by Amazon, etc., and be selling before the start of Q4. I've already set up Redbubble shops and have created 150 designs in the last month. Wow. Not all live yet. That's really good, Shumi. Not all live yet. As planning a launch in various streams. Possibly you should talk to the marketing department at Signal about launching things like that, maybe. And when the platforms and designs are up and running, continue the work I've been doing to get the pet business website shop up and running. Freddie goes to school on Monday. I feel that coming through, Shumi, bless you. That's really good. Sue, would you like to share?
Okay. What I want from my business, I mean, my business started out more as a hobby, but now that my husband's not working, we are living, until he's of an age where he's going to start drawing his pension, we are living off of our savings. So what I want is for my business to be making me a profit. Otherwise it's just not going to be, viable. So I want to work part-time because I can't physically work full-time, so that I can also, I don't want to be working full-time with my husband's now not working, so that I've got a good life balance where, you know, I can still be around to go and see the grandchildren with their, you know, assuming they're still at school at Christmas, but, you know, to see the Christmas productions, that sort of thing. So I want that flexibility. My goals really are obviously to, you know, to make a profit this year, but also something that I do have to bear in mind is that managing my diary. So by communicating my message, like on Facebook and my website and that, I give the appearance of that Tranquil Tea House Therapies is available all the time, you know, well, not all the time, but, you know, within sort of working hours and Saturdays. But actually it isn't, because I will adapt my week depending on what clients I have in to allow myself rest days. So, you know, although it will appear that, you know, yes, 5 days a week I can be working, I won't actually, you know, this physically I couldn't do that. So managing my business around my ability, and really my goal is to keep my business running for as long as it's financially possible, because my business does give me it gives me focus, it gives me, you know, it gives me a purpose. And I want it to, you know, I want it to be a success. So that's my goal really, and communicating my message, as I say, you know, I've got my website and I've got Facebook, and in the future I want to have a look at Instagram, but that's not a platform that I'm familiar with. But I mean, I have to say, you know, just as a you know, finishing thing, if it hadn't been for you know, for Signal and BizHub, I don't know where I would have been this year, because you know, I started in January, coming to Jumpstart January because I wanted to make my business more visible. I know I needed to do marketing, that sort of thing, and yeah, who knows where I would have been by now. I feel like I've worked really hard on my marketing. I've learnt such a lot in this year, even though I've not actually, you know, I've not been earning any money. So I feel a lot more, even if this year, you know, I don't make a profit, I really do feel that if all things even out, next year I have got so much more in my toolbox now that I can go to, you know, I'll have so much more confidence to be able to go ahead and say, yeah, you know, I know what I'm doing now, whereas January last year I didn't know what I was doing. I could do a massage, but
that's so great to hear, and it's really great for the team to hear. I'm sure Stuart will echo in this with me. It's so lovely when you get feedback like that, because we put these on week after week and we talk to people, and it's great when people do take it on board. And I think going back to your communicating is what I did say in the talk, is manage your clients and your customers and your suppliers' expectations by communicating when you are available, because it really then gives you that work-life balance that you obviously really want. So a way of doing that is definitely put that in your messaging.
One of the things I was clear to say with Jumpstart January, and we're always clear to say, is we don't want to just sell the BizHub. You have to be ready for it. You have to be, the word that keeps coming back, intentional. You have to be intentional about making the change in your business, and you obviously at the right point for you that message came loud and clear and you were ready for it. So, you know, your own part in that is just as important as the team being there for you. So don't underplay your own efforts. It's been amazing to see you grow and develop your business, even though it's been tough and hard.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Right. Well, oh yes, Terry.
I just want to back up what Sue's just said, because for me, I'm running on very similar tracks to her, and it's been just amazing, the journey that we've been on, backed up by you guys at Signal. You know, it's just been a phenomenal year, and I've learned so much. And it is, you know, it's time to a certain extent to pat ourselves on the back, because we've been through, well, terrible year.
Yeah.
But also a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
So well done, Sue.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well done to everybody, to be fair. You know, we've all been going through it, and we've come out the other side so far. So keep learning, keep attending, and keep putting things into practice, even if it's just one small thing. Put something into practice regularly and you will see results. Right, so we've got Sarah here, but we can't see or hear her. So, hi Sarah, you probably won't be able to contribute, but I'm hoping that you can hear. Right, so we're running short of time, so we're going to have a quick session now on page 2 and 3 of your workbook, which is your typical work week. This is a really easy and good exercise to do. Don't think about it too much, just jot it down. The top tasks you spend your time on, what are the percentages? What is the value to your business, low, medium or high? And what is your level of enjoyment? And that is the really key thing, because that will take you onto your second sheet, which I'd also like you to complete if we have time. Make a list of what tasks you would like to outsource. And when you fill out the first sheet, that will become quite evident. So high priority items that you don't enjoy doing, that you're spending a huge amount of time on, is probably something you should consider in the outsource. So have a look at it. We're going to probably do, what's the time? We'll probably do maybe five minutes on this for a quick, you don't have to do them all. Let's just get you can obviously go away and do a bit more on this in your own time, but let's just have a bit of a feel of what we've got here. Right. Ready? You don't have to fill them all out. You can obviously do that later on. Let's just have a bit of a snippet to see what people are writing down. Who's my first taker? Who we got? Graham.
So I was looking at my calendar, and I've got sort of 5 areas of tasks I like to work on. So planning, plan, make, sell, count, and report.
Okay.
So planning is doing your high-level planning and more detailed planning things. Make is building whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
Selling is trying to get your message out there. Counting is the financial aspects and keeping on top of those things. And report is trying to summarize what you've done. So this is the theoretical structure that does not get followed closely. But what's interesting to see is the value of the task against the level of enjoyment. So yeah, some things are high value and I do enjoy. Other things are high value that I definitely don't enjoy. So.
We've all got those tasks, Graham. Good, okay. That's really structured. Do you stick to it mainly, Graham?
So recently, absolutely not.
Okay.
So previously I was working quite well,
Right.
and then things got a bit disrupted. But now I'm kind of back into normality. I think I can refit into a structure.
Or maybe stick the sheet up on your wall so you can be motivated by it.
Yeah.
And put the percentages in. Brilliant. Okay. Anybody else? Come on, people. There must be something. Somebody. Fiona.
Well, basically what we've got is emailing clients and suppliers, accounts, costing and quoting, design oblique diagrams, and marketing.
Okay.
And they're all quite. The value to our business is high in most of them, and it is quite high. It is high, but the level of enjoyment is, especially with accounts, it gets really mundane.
It's really low enjoyment.
It's low, yes.
Not for Michael though. That's where he's going to love that. He loves the accounts.
Well, that's what I enjoy the most, and it's high value for me. So
exactly. Exactly. Okay. So, did you manage to put percentages? How much you equate your time? Have you managed to do that? I know it's quite difficult sometimes if you're not having a structured day, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know with the marketing we don't do enough of it. We should do more to that, and we should do more for. I mean, obviously, sort of we put about 10% for that, but we should do more on that. Yeah. And on the emailing, we don't do enough. We do about 20 or 30%, but we should do a lot more.
Yeah.
Can I just challenge some of the thinking? If there's a high value activity that you're particularly good at and it brings in or makes a big difference to the business, then get rid of the stuff that you actively dislike doing, even if it's high value, because you won't be doing it at the point where it is being high value to the business. So really challenge your thinking around tasks that you do because you know they're high value, but you're doing them poorly or haphazardly or distractedly. And so therefore, even though they are high value, they're not being achieved at the highest value for the business. At that point, you might think about collaborating, outsourcing, bringing on board other team members. So don't just think, oh, it's because it's high value, I have to do it. No, you have to have a process that maximizes the value out of that particular area.
Which is where the second sheet comes in really handy. So transfer from your first sheet to your second sheet and see what things that you think you might need to outsource to make your business grow and become more efficient. Brilliant. Anybody else? Has anybody got anything else to add? No? You can keep it to yourselves, it's absolutely fine. We are running quite short of time, but it's really worth looking at these things and drilling it down because it really makes you more conscious of what you're doing. Do it for, you know, a couple of weeks. Try and maybe record the amount of time you're spending on something. It'll soon become really evident about what you're doing and what you should possibly outsource. Right, so we've got a few minutes left, so we'll quickly look at the last sheet. Of course, all these worksheets take away and work on them in your own time. I think they're really useful, again, for writing things down. I just wanted to talk about distractions because when I was preparing the talk and I did the calculations of how much time is lost and wasted by distractions, I was really shocked, actually, to be fair. So I think it's really important to write down maybe your 5 of your most common distractions or time wasters. What distracts you and what are you going to do to stop them distracting your day? So I basically did give some, you know, some examples in the talk, and they may just be those examples. Hopefully, if I've nailed it, I've covered them all. However, there might be some other things that you want to add there, but it's really worth thinking about that. What distracts you and how you're going to stop things from distracting you. We'll take a couple of minutes, and then if we share those, I think it will bring the proceedings to an end for today. But let's have a quick whirl through those. Right. What distracts you? Let's have a little whirl around the room. Ellie, do you want to, have you got anything? What distracts you, Ellie?
I do. Mine are other clients. I always, I don't know why, always check my emails and then I see something come through and then I'm like, oh, better work on that for 10 minutes. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm literally in the middle of something else. And then,
you know there's a way to stop that, right?
Don't check the emails.
That's fine. Just be, no, but just be intentional. That's what we've said all along. I mean, don't not check your emails, just be intentional. I will check that in an hour. I'm going to focus on this. And that's all it is. And you'll be amazed if you switch to doing it like that, it will really take that away from you.
So true. And then my other one is my phone. And I'm always bad at that. Always have it by me, which is terrible. And then I actually make like really good focused work done when I leave it somewhere else or I leave it in the other room. But I've recently just downloaded this app called Forest. And you plant a tree, which is equivalent of a time span. So I could plant a 30-minute tree. And then if I were to go on my phone and leave the Forest app, my tree dies.
Oh, okay.
So it's an incentive to obviously keep it. And then if you plant like 3 hours worth of virtual trees. And then the actual organisers of the owners of the app plant a physical tree in a third world country. So,
wow, that's a really good app. I haven't heard of that before. I've made a note. That's really good.
I think it's just called Forest,
but brilliant.
It got me through my degree, so.
I tell you what, I don't know whether anybody else feels this. When you leave your phone at home accidentally and you're out and you can't go back for it, it's that liberation of, I can't go back. It's not with me, and you're so liberated. It's incredible. So yeah, there is something to be said for that. Just put it somewhere else for a bit and just take some time out to focus. That's brilliant. Has anybody else got any distractions that they want to talk about other than emails and phones? Sue?
Yeah, one of my biggest distractions is visitors,
Okay.
and that is usually like the family. You know, and similarly, like with the phone, I'll get a text message from my daughter, and she'll say, "Oh, are you free this afternoon?" And if I haven't got a client, I just cannot say no, I don't want to see you and my granddaughters. You know, it's just, and similarly, you know, I mean, my son pops in when he finishes work, or if he's between jobs, he'll pop in for a cup of tea. And there is just, unless I've got a client, there is just no way I am going to say to him, sorry, you can't come in today. You know, yeah.
I think
There's
the
nothing
thing
I
is,
can do about that,
no,
but
there
they
is
are
a
my
thing.
biggest distraction.
It's a lovely distraction, though, to be fair. But there's also that thing that we talked about earlier about communicating, and maybe it's worth communicating and managing their expectations as well. I mean, I've worked from home for most of my career. I've been a self-employed contractor, so I'm at home and then visiting. And people think when I'm at home, I'm not working because I'm at home. And they just take advantage of that. And you just have to set those limitations and expectations. So, well, I'm actually working, but I can see you in my lunch break, which is between 1 and 2, and really manage those expectations. It's really hard with family. And it's also really difficult if you really want to see that person as well.
Yeah.
As far as the distraction is concerned, it might be worth just managing a little bit so that when you do see them, you don't feel like, oh, I should be working.
What's the matter?
Yeah. That's really, it's really honest though. Thank you for sharing that, Sue. Yes, Shimmy.
Well, no, very quickly, I completely get that distraction thing, but both you and Sue were saying, and I think that the tipping point for me was when a friend of mine who literally at 8:30 or something on a Monday morning said, oh, are you busy today? And basically what she wanted me to do was look after her sick child. So that she could go to work. And the child wasn't that sick. She had reflux basically, and she wasn't allowed into school. It wasn't like, you know, proper sick. Otherwise, I'd have had to say no. But so what happened was that it wasn't anything really urgent. I had plans for that day, but I felt because I owed her basically for various times she's helped me out. So so I had her child putting up the television really loudly and just sitting there eating crisps, even though she had reflux, and I couldn't get any work done. And I thought all that happened was that her husband and she managed to get a full day's work in, and I didn't. And I thought, actually, I felt my obligation was, so from now on I kind of say, oh, I'm sorry, I've got a meeting, unless obviously it's a genuine emergency. I'll always be there for genuine emergencies. But I realized exactly as you said earlier in the other session, was that they got their agendas and priorities sorted, and I, out of obligation, well, not out of friendship as well, because we are close friends.
But there is that element that when you say yes to somebody, you're saying no to something else. And
I think it was the tipping point. It was the tipping point this year, because I kind of thought, well, I started the year exactly with what you said about this no and yes kind of criteria, and it had worked for me so much as a successful way of saying no to things. But it was this thing about you're saying, Sue, about this kind of obligation, and it's a love thing as well. You do it for somebody you love, and I do love them as family. So I just felt.
But you still can do it, but just on your own agenda in the time that you allocate, because you'll find you'll enjoy it more anyway. Because if you've allocated that time and you're in that, you're not thinking, oh, I should be working, and you're agitated when they're there. But if you said, it's absolutely fine, come and see me, I'll be available from 3 o'clock. Perfect. Then you do your work, and it's in your time, your goals, your agenda. And I think if you keep sticking to that throughout every business day that you work in, and you develop that as your mantra almost, that's what you do, you will become a lot more productive. I can firmly recommend it. Good. Right, I think we're out of time, Stu. Sorry for anybody else that you know, but time is ticking. So
time has absolutely flown past. Our to-do lists are completely full and organised. We have our trays and our tomatoes and our timers all set up, ready.
It's one way of describing my talk: trays and tomatoes. I should have called it that.
ready to rock our productivity month. So that's a great kickstart to that. Thank you very much, Lou. Brilliant. Well done. I know you were very nervous, but you needn't have been. It was fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you very much to my co-host for stepping in this week, Ellie. I'm sure we'll see you around and about and at the Biz Hub and helping out the members with various things in the Hubbub marketing package. And if you want information about that, speak to any one of the team members and we can talk to you about that. Next week, it's consolidation, because you're going to be taking this to-do and productivity to the next level by developing some great habits. So we're looking forward to that immensely. All that's left to say is thank you so much for coming along and joining us. Don't forget, it's Beer Friday at 4:30. Send your photos via the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group. And we'll see you. If we don't see you in the week, we'll see you next Friday. And good luck. All the very best.
Thank
And
you.
goodbye.
Good night.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye
for
then.
coming.